What's going on, everybody? It's Rather Guy. I'm back in the studio with another studio cook-up. Today we're going to be talking about what is the origination of art. How did art originate? Where did art start? How did art get to where it is now? And how should you as an artist go about creating art? Or how should I go about creating art? This is more so a personal thing. I'm gonna be talking about personally what I feel like is the origination of art and how we should go about creating art. Whether you want to take that advice or not is completely up to you. But we about to cook up a little painting. As you can see, I got my canvas already gessoed. I like to do a pink underbase because I do a lot of faces, and underneath your flesh is like red or pink. So pink underpainting. But boom, let's get right into it. As you can see or not see, I'm kind of tired. I'm a little bit tired today. I did drink a Red Bull earlier, but like I crashed like right after it. So I don't know what that meant, but I'm mad tired. The origination or the origin of art. For me, I start my art history at like hieroglyphics. So Egyptian hieroglyphics, because Egypt is like the first civilization that we have like written record of for real. So that's kind of like where a lot of history starts at, even though there probably was like civilizations and stuff like that before their written record. Egypt. So a lot of my work is fuck. This is like one of the hardest parts, just hanging in. Okay. Hieroglyphics, especially Egyptian hieroglyphics, plays a big part in my work. I remember just looking at hieroglyphics and studying the meaning of them and seeing like why were hieroglyphics made. And the first thing that I saw, and one of the first things that I learned, was that hieroglyphics were made by the scribes, and the scribes' jobs were to kind of like document the time period, document what's going on. So like each pharaoh would have their own kind of scribes that they liked, you know what I mean, that worked underneath them, and they would really just they would describe the time, what's going on. So you may see like hieroglyphics of like things like agriculture, people farming the land, rituals, and all sorts of just like daily day in the life things, you know what I mean? And so like that was the like original purest form of art. It was just capturing everyday life. Now, why did they do that? Well, a lot of it was to kind of show us now, or kind of show later how to do things. So it was like almost like a manual for life. So it shows you like, what do you need to do? How do you farm? How do you do this? Because they believe like it would get to the point where we forget how to do all these things. You know what I mean? It would get to the point where we no longer know how to farm, or we get to the point where we no longer know how to, what's that called? They really wanted to just document and show like, this was the civilization, this is what it looked like. And so now, what art looks like now, it's more of a commodity. It's more of like a business. It's more about money than it is about ultimately leaving something so people can learn something about your time period, or leaving something to show people how we should live or how we were living during this period of time. And so one of the things that I really like to do in my work is to kind of keep that in mind when I create that. Art was originally made for the sake of trying to keep certain things alive, keep certain traditions alive, so we know later down the line, okay, this is how we're supposed to be living, or this is how we're supposed to be this is the way we're supposed to be living, this is the way that we're supposed to do this is the way that we're supposed to do that, okay? Because there's clear indications that society right now is like just going down. It's just too much innovation, like a lot of innovation. And there's nothing wrong with innovation, but innovation is a sign that society is on a decline. So the minute we started like innovating like stupid crazy was the minute that we began declining. Just like the minute that we were born is like the minute that we start dying, basically. And so with all this new technology and stuff, there's been like a question raised within like the art space and the art circle and the art world, whatever you want to call it, that will the internet and like AI and all these different things ruin the ecosystem of art or ruin the role of the artist? And for me, my answer to that would be fuck no. Because think about this. The internet to me is a tool. The internet, AI and all that, it's a tool for us. We can use that. You know what I mean? We're able to use that. A computer is never going to be able to do what I'm doing right now, because this is coming straight from my brain and straight from me. This is a representation of me. So the computer will never be able to do that. Now, when I say innovation though, I think the computer will be able to help us get off other ideas that maybe we didn't think of, or maybe we couldn't think of, or maybe we couldn't fathom to even think of. So like, personally, I love the new technology in the art space because there's so much untapped. It's an untapped space. And I'm gonna give y'all some sauce real quick with it because like, why not? But utilizing AI, utilizing the internet, utilizing your computer and utilizing your phone and all that ultimately can give you the upper edge on where art is going in the future. Because like I said, we're only gonna continue to innovate, and we're only gonna continue to get more technological. So why not get on it now instead of being like, no, I'm not using that. I want to use my hands. I need to touch paint. I need to do this. I need to do that. But when the future is really going to be very, very digital and very, very tech, you feel me? Like, we're already seeing it now. So why not see how you can incorporate that in your practice now, so when the time comes, you could be one of them ones that said like, oh nah, I was on this. I was on this before it was popular. You know what I mean? I was on this before people were like, I was on this when people were making fun of it. You know what I mean? AI art can be cool when you use it properly. AI art is not cool when you don't use it properly. It's just very, 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 very stupid when you just go on whatever. I don't even know what site you use to make AI art, but you go on it and you just make like a generic, the most generic thing you could ever make. Like that's when it's like, okay, it's stupid. But when you use it creatively, that's when it's innovative, and that's when you start to become that next generation type of artist. And that is like what I strive to be. I strive to want to kind of leave people with hints and clues of what it was like during my time when I was making art. So like right now I make art for the future, in a sense, where I make art that might not be easily digestible right now or easily taken in right now, but I know that in the future people are going to understand exactly what I'm talking about or exactly what I'm saying. And so let me go back to the hieroglyphics. You know what I mean? Hieroglyphics are so cool because they just show you how they were living, and it gives you clues on how people, how the Egyptians or the Kemets, how they seen the world. You know what I mean? It gives you clues on how they perceived the world, how they perceived religion. You get to see some of their religious texts, and you get to see the way that they cherish like the afterlife in a sense. Like they believe that everything we did here was for the after, and the after was better. So like not the after like the after party, but like the afterlife for real. Like they used to literally bury their pharaohs with like all the stuff to make their afterlife comfortable. So they would have like couches in their coffins, jewelry that they wore, all sorts of stuff. That's fly. Like that's fly as fuck. It's really hip hop for real. So when I say art is hip hop, I don't be joking. Like that shit is hip hop. That's real. But yeah, they used to be on that. And so it's just funny how I look at like different civilizations that did hieroglyphics, and I see like the innovation and how they really like, I think, I'm not sure if it was the Mayans or Aztecs, it's one of those. I seen some of their hieroglyphics, and it was like, the work is just like crazy insane. Like the work is like insane. It's like they really use like their imagination to depict certain ceremonies, certain rituals and stuff like that. And I was really like in awe of that. Like these were real artists, but they were, even though they were using their imagination to depict certain situations, it was still real life that they were depicting. It wasn't something that was in a fantasy world or something that was about nothing. It wasn't about nothing. It had meaning to it. And so I always like say this, like the best artwork is the artwork that has meaning. And so when you think about those ancient civilizations that did have artwork, it was all meaningful. That's why like in the beginning of art history, we learn about the, what's those called? Like we learn about like a lot of architecture, like the pyramids and the way that they built temples. Like we learn about a lot of that because it served a purpose, you know what I mean? It wasn't just about making the space look beautiful, like that was part of it, but it was also like, it serves a purpose. This stair might be here because it needs to be here. This stair might look like this for a reason. It doesn't just look like this for it to look cool, you know what I mean? And so I feel like we've gotten away from that a lot when we're talking about creation and art now, to the point where it's like, what are we even saying within our work? What are we teaching the future? What are we teaching people 120 years from now, or something crazy like that? Like, what are we teaching people? Like, what are they gonna be saying about the art? You can always tell the state of the world or the state of a civilization by their art. You can always tell. So what do you think people would be saying about us in like 1,000 years from now, seeing the art in this climate? They would think we was a joke. Cause a lot of artists just making art that's like, it's bullshit. It don't really serve no meaning. They'll be like, nah, they was just doing it for money. Once they find that out, it's like, damn, like, but there's some people who are still making work with meaning, work that's gonna serve a purpose in the end. Like the artists that just make like self-portraits of themselves. Like, come on now, bro. Quit all that narcissism, man. We're not trying to see no self-portrait of you all the time. There's nothing wrong with a self-portrait here or there, but what is your voice? What are you trying to say? What is the conversation? What conversation can we have about this? What conversation are we gonna be trying to teach the future? What do we want the future to think about us? And ultimately, these are things that I just think about when I'm creating. It's like, what do I want people to think about the art space? There's some artists that think like this. There's some artists that don't. If you're in it for the money, you're in it for the money. But If you're in it because it's the root of it, then that's the root of it. And I believe like if you do follow the what's that called? If you do follow the root of art and you do play by that and you do move with that intention that I'm creating something to leave something for the future, then everything else will come to you. Money will come to you, success will come to you, everything you want will come to you because you're moving with the intention that the previous artist did, which was I'm making something to leave for something so you can study about a time. You know what I mean? You study about a time period. A lot of art right now that's being made right now is not gonna last. Like, it's not gonna last because everything is so quick. Everything is mad quick. A lot of artists are just looking for the quick hit, quick hit, quick hit, quick hit, quick hit. Where it's like, okay, now you got the quick hit, now you're on, now you're making money, but this isn't gonna be sustainable because your work is not talking about anything. It's not holding no substance. It's just a commodity. You know what I mean? You're just making money right now, but you're not actually truly saying anything. All right, so boom, I just finished up my sketch. I'm about to put the background in first, and then I'm gonna go over the face and do all that. But basically, I'm at a point where with this painting, I'm gonna say this is about when the jig is up, man. Like, I don't know if y'all ever been in a situation where like you just had to kind of like be like, you had to give up. Not give up in a sense, but you had to be like, all right, you got me. Like, you got me. And just let them have it. So like, this is about that. This is about a moment in time where you just gotta let people have it for real. Gotta let them niggas have it, man. And so let's go in with our paints. Go in our paints. I think because we were talking about hieroglyphics and early civilization paintings, we should use a similar color palette. So I'm gonna go with like this, like dirty, I don't even know what color you would say it, but the Egyptian hieroglyphics are painted on what's called papyrus. So we're gonna try to recreate that color. I'm just doing this straight from my brain, like no reference or none of that. I am running out of paint. Like, I do need to get paint real soon. So bear with me. Let's go ahead and mix this color and see what we get. Where's my mixer at, man? All right, let's get a little yellow and some brown. This is not enough. This is not gonna be enough. Maybe it will. We'll see. Hopefully it is. Maybe a little red in this. A little red. Just a little bit though. Don't be scared of the future. You gotta grow with it. Just go ahead and grow with it. You see things changing up, go ahead and grow with it. That's all you gotta do. Don't be scared to change. The art world is scared to change. That's why they won't co-sign a lot of artists right now. There's a lot of artists that deserve, and some of y'all are probably some of them. Like, there's a lot of artists that deserve to be seen, deserve to be heard. Their artwork deserves to have a conversation. The work that you're making is a conversation about the time now. And I mean, you won't, people in the art world aren't paying attention. They're not showing you because they're afraid. Honestly, that's what it is. They're afraid. People are afraid of real life right now. People want to ignore real life right now. That's why the internet is so so popping the way it is because nobody wants to really accept reality for what it is. And reality right now is not that good. I mean, it's not that good. So got some on my shoe. Some paint. All right, let's go with this background. Personally, I can't turn a blind eye to what's going on. You know what I mean? Sometimes I wish I could, and then I could just bullshit and make art like the way that a lot of people make it. But if you're a person that's really in tune with what's going on in the world, what's going on with people in general, you can't even do it. And if you're not paying attention to what's going on, I would. And I don't mean like the news or nothing like that. Like, we got to be able to see through all that. I'm talking about actually doing your research on what's happening, what scientists are doing, what are scientists studying. You'll be able to put two and two together once you check out the information. You start connecting dots. So I don't want you to start connecting the dots. Once you start connecting the dots, that's when they start calling you. They start calling you crazy. Then your artwork's really not gonna get shown, because then you're too real. You feel me? So you can't be too real in the art space, or else they won't show you. But you can't be too fake either, because if you're too fake, they can see through that too. We can see through that too. This background color is kind of cool. I never made this color before. I don't even know what to call this. Like, it's kind of like gray. I was going for more of a warmer color, but this is kind of cool too, honestly. I feel like my colors are gonna pop on this. I'm gonna just leave it as is. Yo, these videos are like making me be able to paint a lot faster than the way I normally would. And then the work is still coming out pretty decent. Painting is so fun when you don't have any expectations for it. It's so much funner. So much fun. So much better when you can just think about, like, this is for later. Like, this is not even for right now. I feel like all artists, we gotta think like 20 years ahead, even more than that sometimes. The further ahead you think, the more advanced your work is gonna be. The more people are going to be intrigued and wanna understand what it's about. But then also it puts you at a disservice, because like then some people might not understand at all. You might completely miss the mark, whatever. But that's okay too, because at least you tried, you gave it your best. And that'd be my thing. Like, I'd be thinking like 20, 30, 40 years ahead sometimes when I make pieces, and it's not too. And I'm not saying that to be like, oh, I'm like so far ahead of everybody. It's just like I try to think about what the future may be like, and why artists may want, what artists in the future may be painting like, or if they're painting at all, or like what does that look like? You know what I mean? If the world goes digital, imagine the world is digital, right? You're sitting on your couch, or you're sitting in whatever room you're in, and you're just online, like you're an online persona. You're not even in real life. Like, you're not doing anything in real life. Everything is like through a screen, and you're living your life on the screen, in the screen world. And you're an artist, you have a creative mindset. I'd like to believe that creative, we would probably want out of that virtual world. But if we're in it, what type of stuff would we be creating? How would we create it? And that's kind of like how I think when I make artwork. It's like, this is how I would paint if I was in that virtual world. Like, this is what I would be making. This is the type of work that I'd be making. Whether it be on a digital format, or if I was painting in a digital world. It's like, I don't know if that makes sense, but That's how I be thinking when I be painting. It's like I gotta paint for that, for the kid that's gonna have to be painting during that time. So he got references, so he knows like, oh, now I want to continue this conversation. Because that's how I go about art. I continue conversations that other artists, or I answer questions that other artists were posing. You know what I mean? Like there's artists that used to paint black stereotypes, and I try to figure out like, oh wow, how can I continue this conversation of art? Like, yeah, stereotypes still exist today, but what do they look like? Or what will they look like in the future? What will they look like in that digital world I was talking about? And that's kind of how I go about things. But digital world in the future is always like it's always something I'm like real infatuated about. I've always been real infatuated about. About to be cyborgs, shit like that. Half computer, half human. Living in the digital world while also living in the real world. You ain't even gonna need to have no phone in your pocket because you're gonna be the phone. It might get sick like that. Then after that, everything will restart, this shit will crumble. Then you start from square one, farming and shit like that. I'm here for it all. Well, I'll probably be dead by the time that shit happen, but I'm here for it. All I could do is imagine and create what I would think it looks like. And hopefully I'm right. Hopefully somebody looks at the work and is like, damn, he was onto that shit. He knew that shit early on. If I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, but at least I guessed and tried to guess what it would be like. But like I said, I try to do my homework and my research on what's going on, and I could kind of see where things are going. And if you don't believe me, you could do your own homework and see what things are going, what things are looking like. But staying true to that original process of creation and that original process of like art itself and being the scribe, creating work based off of what's going on. You can't go wrong. There's no possible way to go wrong. Nobody can tell you you're wrong. If somebody asks you, yo, what type of artwork you make? And you tell them, well, I'm more of a scribe. I kind of just like document what's going on in the world, and I do it in my way and my style. Nobody can tell you, oh, that's wrong, or that's not art. That's not real art. They can't tell you that because ultimately that's the original source of art. That's the origins of art. It's just something for you to take with you. It's a cool background color. I've never done a painting, I don't think, with this type of background color before. Kind of like to leave some spots with a little pink still peeking through. That's why I do the pink underpaint. It's kind of just like, it adds some grit to it. You know what I mean? A little grittiness to it. That's a part of my style. Stylistically, do things like that. All right, let's get going on the face. That's always like a fun part for me, doing the face. Thank you all for watching. Today we went over the origins of artwork and art and what that means to me and how I kind of utilize that in my practice. The angle was crazy. I did this in like 2 hours. This piece right here, boom. My, what's that called? My go-to signature hieroglyphic style. I did that in this. You see the side profile, whatever. But yeah, like I said, stay true to the origins of art. Don't get mixed up in what everything that's going on. Don't be afraid to innovate. Don't be afraid to like, comment, and subscribe on this video either. You feel me? Like, comment, subscribe. Check out some of my other videos. Like always, we out from the neighborhood. We'll be back, same place, same time, a different thing next week. Boom.